I'm calling to order this hearing. This is a public hearing, a roundtable of the Committee of the Whole of the Council of the District of Columbia. I'm Phil Mendelson, Chair of the Council and Chair of the Committee of the Whole. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. The time is 12:41 in the afternoon, and this hearing is being held in room 412 of the Johnny Wilson Building and is being recorded, will be available on the council's website, which is www.dccouncil.gov. The subject of this hearing or roundtable is PR 26-80, entitled Corrections Information Council Governing Board and Kichi Taifa Reappointment Resolution of 2025. This legislation was introduced by me on February 18th of this year to reappoint Ms. Taifa to the Corrections Information Council Governing Board. She is one of two nominees that the council has for appointments to the Corrections Information Council Governing Board. The stated purpose of Resolution PR 26-80 is to reappoint Ms. Taifa as a member of the Corrections Information Council for a two-year term to expire December 7th, 2026. The Corrections Information Council is an independent monitoring body mandated by Congress and the council to inspect, monitor, and report on the conditions of confinement at facilities where district residents are incarcerated. The record in this matter will be open for 2 weeks. That is, it will close at 5 p.m. on Thursday. I don't know why that says Thursday. At 5 p.m. on October 28th, 2025. I think I know why it says Thursday. It's Thursday up there too. Whatever day of the week October 28th is, at 5 p.m. is when the record closes. We have these hearings or roundtables are an opportunity for the public to reach out and comment if they want, as well as for the committee to explore with the nominee service on, in this case, the Corrections Information Council. We have one witness, that's the nominee. Ms. Taifa, good afternoon, and I think you have a statement if you want to give it now.
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Nikichi Taifa. I am a proud native Washingtonian, founder and principal of the Taifa Group LLC. I'm also founder and convener emeritus of the Justice Roundtable coalition of over 100 organizations that have worked since 2002 to advance federal criminal justice policy reform issues. On the local level, I've served as chairperson and member of the DC Human Rights Commission from 2007 to 2014. And I serve as co-host with Roach Brown on WPFW Radio's Crossroads talk show, which highlights issues impacting the incarcerated and formerly incarcerated residents of DC. I proudly served on the governing board of the Corrections Information Council since 2019, and I seek reappointment and confirmation by this council. I would like to continue to assist the CIC in furthering its critical oversight mission to inspect, monitor, and report on the conditions of confinement in correctional facilities incarcerating DC residents. And I feel that my background, experience, interests, and track record on the CIC qualifies me for confirmation. One key area involving CIC governing board members um, uh, um, review has been to assist the CIC in its process of developing Department of Corrections standards covering topics such as physical plant conditions, medical, mental health, recreation, out of cell, schedules and lockdowns, safety and security, grievance policies, staffing, use of force, food, language access, and the like. And we also assist in providing feedback to CIC in its interview review of BOP, Bureau of Prison Standards, including the American Corrections Association and the Prison Rape Elimination Act standards. CIC in-person site visits have been critical in maintaining corrections and communications with DC residents in the DC Department of Corrections and throughout the federal system. I've also accompanied CIC staff as a governing board representative at important meetings with officials at the Bureau of Prisons. If confirmed, I will continue to be consistent with my participation at Corrections Information Council meetings, and when available, accompany staff on site visits to ensure that the statutory oversight and reporting mandates of CIC responsibilities are upheld. I would say that CIC staff have amicably engaged the Bureau of Prisons and is seen as a trusted intermediary, resulting in many recommendations made by CIC being addressed and or resolved incrementally. The CIC does an excellent job in producing quality assessment and thematic reports and fact sheets covering critical topic areas and follow-ups on previous recommendations are made. And it's my hope that the Correction Information Council's continued constructive engagement with the Bureau of Prisons officials will ultimately result in changes in policies with respect to issues I have concern with of the BOP in terms of solitary confinement, uh, i.e., us as part of the Corrections Information Council not being able to access those areas on our site visits, as well as unannounced visits. We're not really allowed unannounced visits, even though the time frame for us being able to get in and inspect has been shortened. Still, in my humble opinion, monitoring works best when the site visits are unannounced. So, just in conclusion, based on my longstanding history and expertise concerning issues involving incarcerated and formerly incarcerated communities, and my enthusiastic interest in continuing as a member of the CIC's governing board, I request that my nomination for reappointment to the District of Columbia's Corrections Information Council be confirmed.
Thank you for your statement, and we have a copy of it. I have a few questions. I ask these questions at every hearing. First, you've been on the commission, on the council, so you have a sense of how much time is involved. Do you have the time to commit when reappointed?
Yes, well, even now, so then previously, when I was first appointed, I am don't really know what it's like to be retired, but I am officially retired. I'm no longer I'm working on a 9 to 5. I do consulting, and I am engaged in community activities. And my participation as part of the governing board of the Corrections Information Council continues to give me a great purpose in helping to advance issues of the incarcerated and informally incarcerated communities here in the District of Columbia.
So yes, you have the time to serve. And then I know this was a pre-hearing written question. Any conflicts of interest? And if there were any, how would you handle it?
No conflicts of interest, and if any arise, I would immediately let Donald Isaac, who is the executive director, know, and as well as Charles Thornton, who is the chair of the governing board. I would recuse myself from any votes, but actually, I guess if there were a conflict, I would recuse myself from being a sitting commissioner, but there have been no conflicts pursuant to the questionnaire the whole time I've been part of the
Yeah.
CIC.
And then are you current in taxes to the district and any other government and any other liabilities to the government?
I'm current in all taxes and absolutely no liabilities at all.
Okay. Um, so I want to explore a little bit more some issues that were in your statement, but also in your hearing answers. Um, Continued denial by the Federal Bureau of Prisons to CIC's concerns regarding lack of access to residents in solitary confinement during our scheduled visits.
Yes.
So you're just not able to get access. Is it only with regard to solitary confinement or any
Well,
other?
um, it's level of custody. It's the SHU, the special housing units. We have not been able to gain access to them. The reason being, the stated reason being security, which is totally and completely understandable. However, in order to really be conscientious in upholding our duty to expect and monitor. I feel, and we feel it's critical that we have access to all parts of the facility, and we have not been able to have access to District of Columbia residents that are being held in secure that heightened level of secure confinement.
Well, when you want access, is that to the wing or is that to the individual cell?
Well, we have not been access to the wing or to the individual cell. So
So I don't
it,
quite get the security issue with the wing because within the wing are different cells with locked doors. So how is that really a security issue?
that's an excellent point, Chairman. uh,
And if you had access to the wing, even if you didn't have access to the cell, usually there's a way to communicate with the person who's in the cell, like through the door, through their means to communicate. So I don't quite get the lack of access. And I don't mean by that, I don't get what you're saying. I mean, I don't get why the Bureau of Prisons is saying no.
well,
Uh,
the excuse is always security. Yeah,
and then,
agree 100%.
and
Um,
then you also said BOP's refusal to agree to unannounced inspection visits. Now, I
yeah.
get how a secure facility like a prison wants to know when some folks are coming, but I also get that unannounced means that there's less likelihood that the facility will be washed or cleansed or straightened up. Um, in your experience, have you ever been able to do unannounced inspection visits?
No, but I will say in all transparency, the BOP, we have regular meetings with them, and we have to, I can understand the security wise, we have to, submit security information to be able to have clearance to come in. I can understand that, but it's also important. Residents have told us that things are spruced up when we come in. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Uh, they get clean laundry, they get this, they get that. They know when we're coming, and things are spruced up. Staff of the CIC have not been as troubled, I guess you could say, as I have been with respect to that, because I guess them dealing with these issues on a more day-to-day basis can, really understand the importance. There has to be staff, excuse me, Bureau of Prison staff available to accompany us throughout the facility and make sure schedules are coordinated and the like. And I think they probably have a greater appreciation for that than I do. But as a former advocate, I guess you could say, um, to me, it's always better when a visit is unannounced, meaning there's no time to spruce things up or paint a corridor or, make sure the laundry is clean, and things along those lines. It hasn't been a real problem. It's just for the principle of the matter, in my humble opinion, our duty to expect and to monitor, I feel, would be much more pristine if we were allowed unannounced visits, totally and completely unannounced
Yeah.
visits. Yeah.
I agree. I can see both sides of it, but I agree on the value of that. Um, then you also mentioned lack of Bureau of Prisons communication with both families and residents and the CIC. Um, that is that seems to be pretty pervasive. They don't communicate when they are releasing an inmate,
Mhm.
and you're saying they don't communicate with families and residents like hospital transfers and issues involving serious bodily harm.
Yeah, and even in terms of deaths in custody, oftentimes we don't get information about that unless there's been a press release that has been issued. And it should be a standard matter of course that the CRC have that information when it occurs and not in the eventuality that there is a press release. So family members have expressed concern in terms of the serious health situations and hospital transfers and the like. So we are in communication and dialogue with the BOP with respect to that, and hopefully um, those issues will be ameliorated, but it's currently an issue.
Do they give a reason for their lousy communication?
Um, I don't recall actually. I really have to speak to staff of the CRC with respect to that. I just know that the communication is oftentimes lacking.
Yeah. Um, okay, one last question. I think you had indicated privately that this may be your last term.
Yeah, I've been on the CIC since 2019, and I would like to serve one last term and really open up opportunities for others to um, be part of this very important and critical monitoring process.
Would you do me a favor and over the next year and a half or a year and 4 months, um, think of several candidates from whom I could choose a successor?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
We call that succession planning. And
Yeah,
since you're in the thick of it, you would have a pretty good idea of who might be good. So if you could suggest a few candidates, that would be great.
it will be my pleasure too. Thank you so much.
Give me just a second. I don't have any other questions for you. Anything else I forgot to ask?
No, I think we've covered everything. I'll just add one more thing, just for the record. We are in a new and different political environment, so the importance of monitoring and inspection is even greater now than it has been in a long time. So we need to keep our feet to the fire to ensure that our District of Columbia residents who are scattered throughout the federal system have humane conditions of confinement and um, everything constitutional is adhered to. I'll just leave it at that.
A good point. The I'm remembering that the first time I visited a Bureau of Prisons facility, the warden talked with me about the importance of respecting the residents, the inmates at the facility. Respect goes a long way, especially if we want these folks to return to society. If they're treated with respect and dignity, um, and I don't mean by that coddling, not at all, but treated with respect and dignity and their appropriate services, the chances of their being able to reintegrate without recidivating is improved substantially. It's an important way of improving public safety is to help with reentry. So,
Absolutely. Yes.
uh, thank you for your service so far. Thank you for your willingness to serve another term. And with that, I'm going to close out this hearing. This has been a hearing on PR 26-80, Corrections Information Council Governing Board and Kichi Taifa Reappointment Resolution of 2025. The record will close at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, October 28th. The time is 1:00 p.m. and this roundtable is adjourned. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.